Hello and welcome everyone to another fabulous episode here with myself. And we are talking on the topic, how to move past the anxiety and limiting beliefs that hold you back as a business owner, with our beautiful guest today, Dorothy O'Dell. Welcome, Dorothy.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Sonia.
Oh, it's lovely having you here. We've had a lovely little bit of a laugh this morning, peoples, and we've broken quite a lot of ice, ha ha ha, because she's actually got a lot of snow around the corner from her there through her window. She is in Canada and I'm here in Melbourne, where we're having a heat wave. So quite a bit of a difference, people. So we've had a really good chat this morning, but we are talking again. Let me tell you the topic about overcoming with anxiety and limiting beliefs for us as a business. So Dorothy is the founder and is also an author and is diploma accredited with business, and also an assist accredited individual as well. She is very, very experienced with overcoming a lot of various different types of things and anxieties in business. And she's going to be able to help tell us quite a lot of information, as well as give us some extra tips to help us with anxiety and limiting beliefs that tend to hold us back in business. So this is going to be very, very interesting, Dorothy. So please, let's just start off a little bit about your story. If you'd like to just tell the listeners a little bit more about yourself.
Sure. Again, thanks for having me on here today, Sonia.
Pleasure.
Basically, my story starts back when, child. I was when I was in school, I was bullied for my weight, which led to low self-esteem, and which then led me on a path of different abusive relationships, both personally and professionally. And when I had, when I was growing up with all of that, I didn't really go to my parents about it. So it was kind of like year after year, layer after layer of hurt and stuff like that, until it came to a point, and I had in both the relationship for work that I had and in my personal life as well. And I knew that the beliefs that I had as a child, because of the low self-worth, that I could not get anything better. So those are one of the main reasons why I had stayed in those relationships. In the job that I was in, I would have like a phone whizzing by my head. the owner and his wife got into a major fight one day, and that went whizzing by my head. The phone went whizzing by my head. I'm like, why am I here? Why am I here? But I knew the belief that I was telling myself was that I wasn't good enough to get anything better. And so, in the jobs that I had, I'm like, okay, well, there's got to be something more to life. And I thought, I've always had a side business, even all through college and things like that. I went to school, like I said, for business and administration. So for 24 years, I've been a bookkeeper, which I was, really super tired of, and wanted to help people. So that's why I transitioned into, coaching and helping people, because I know that I'm not the only one out there that has these beliefs that are holding us back. And a lot of, especially women, buy into the lie that they're not good enough to be in business or own their own business or to help other people, and especially when you have low self-esteem, you just don't think that you're good at anything. But I definitely went on a healing journey after I left both the job that I was in and the relationship I was in. I was almost kind of at the same time. I got rid of my headaches. I used to get cluster migraine headaches like for months at a time. They just would not leave me. That's the amount of stress I was under. My blood pressure was at one point, I think it was 180 over 150 at one point. And excuse me, my doctor had me on several different medications, and I'm not a type of person to take medications unless it's like I'm dying. And when I couldn't function because of the headaches, I'm like, okay, something had to happen. So after leaving both of those relationships, I started on a journey of, personal development and getting my head right and quit believing those obstacles that were in my way, because that was just, uh, I saw a picture recently of an elephant tied to a chair. And when it was little, that's what happened. And then growing up, he didn't like, the elephant is 3 times the size of the chair, but yet it was taught and trained not to move anywhere because it was tied to that chair, right? And I'm like, it's the same belief that we have. We cannot move past those beliefs until we know that there's something different and something more out there. So I really want trying to make my life purpose and helping people that have those limiting beliefs to get past them and to know that they are worthy. They can do anything they put their mind to doing. This day and age with everything being online, you can, Rachel Hollis, I know, she is, I'm not sure if you've heard of her, but she is definitely, well, she's internationally known and she's a best-selling author, New York Times best-selling author. And she said that she built her business over 10 years with a Google search bar. So if she can do it and I can do it, anybody can do it. It's just getting past, I think everybody has a little bit of fear, but it's, keep moving back past that, and definitely taking the steps, getting the coaching, getting yourself past that. And even coaches have coaches. So it's like we're constantly learning, right? Because we can't stay stuck in those beliefs, or we're going to keep going backwards instead of going forwards.
It's so true, so true. And I love the analogy that, well, and it's true what they do with the elephants. Elephants have, excuse me, so much inner strength and physical strength, and can overcome, and yet all they know is from what they were originally set up with knowing that they couldn't initially to break free of whatever was holding them back. And then as they grew on, they were still holding on to oh, excuse me, they're holding on to that thought pattern, I suppose you could say, of their past. And instead of moving forwards into what's happening right now as a reality and into the very near future in the next few minutes, that they actually could overcome. And it's great to talk about it. It's great to be aware about it. It's great to put it into action every now and then, but it's the consistency I find really with all of us, no matter what level of income we have. As you said, coaches do have coaches. So no matter of the income that you have or the achievements that you have, as you go on, there's always something else that comes about that could either hold you back there in the moment that you haven't experienced, or and if so, then we tend to revert back to what we've known. And if it is something that has held us back, it can still set us up for for those limiting beliefs, as you talked about, which is interesting with our topic. And I'll repeat it again, how to move past the anxiety and limiting beliefs that hold you back as a business owner. So we're talking about the limiting beliefs quite a lot, but then also about this anxiety that comes about from it. So could you talk a little bit more, give us a bit more of an insight about then how it relates with anxiety?
Sure. So for myself, it was like a light bulb, because I was helping one of my family members this week with some of the anxiety that they were going through. And sometimes it's generational. Sometimes I know for my family personally, both sides have anxiety and depression. And my grandmother hid that for years. She's 87 years old, and I just found out that she had anxiety last year for the first time. So, I mean, it's not something that they used to talk about. So with anxiety, sometimes it's often like triggers. So something that somebody says to you, whether it be in a business meeting or a church or wherever, and all of a sudden you just start getting anxious and anxious and anxious, and you're really not sure where it's coming from. But it usually stems from something that's happened either in your childhood or very early on. as you're growing up, right? And sometimes we don't even realize that. And in the times that I was going through therapy to help me, overcome my anxiety and my beliefs, it was there was a couple different therapies that I did. One was right out of my church, and it was called Theophostic Prayer Ministry with Ed Smith. And so what Ed does is he has you go into that triggered state, and then they go back to when the first time you felt that way. So if you were angry about a certain situation, when was the first time that you ever felt angry at that situation? And 9 times out of 10, it stems back from before you were 8 years old. So, and then, they just take you through that, what is the lie that is with that trigger? And then, but what's the belief? What is really the belief of that? So the lie is there, but what is the truth? Not the belief, sorry, the truth. So the truth is, no, it's not true that I'll never be successful. The truth is, I am successful. You have everything inside of you to become successful. It's just what you do with it that will bring it out, right? And sometimes that can cause anxiety in people. And, sometimes, when I was going through, I had actually found the love of my life. And so we were planning a wedding, and then my dad got a cancer diagnosis. And when I was at work, it was just like everything. It was like layers upon layers upon layers of frustration, which then brought out the anxiety, because if you don't think that you're capable in that moment, sometimes that can bring on anxiety too, right? So it's just like, but then I have a friend too that also told me we're always going in and out of chaos. So if you can't handle that chaos, that brings out on anxiety too. Because there's a lot of people, I'm the type of person that I just bulldoze my way through everything. Like eventually I'll get there. I might have a rotten day or a rotten couple days, but I'm just going and I'm motoring and I'm getting through it. Where a lot of people don't have that. So they have to learn the coping mechanism to go with that. And, I also teach that too, and it's different for everybody. So what works for me is not going to work for you, but you have to find out what works for you. Because I can give you a laundry list of things, but if it doesn't work for you, we got to figure it out, and get past that anxiety. Like I don't know about you, but I don't want to live anxiety 24/7. That's not, that's not this headspace that you want to be in. And a lot of different times I find that if I'm anxious, it's because I'm inside of my head. So I find different things to listen to, different podcasts, different uplifting podcasts to listen to, music, different meditations and stuff like that. And I found, even when I was going through everything, to me, self-care was non-existent in my life up until last year. I will 100% admit that. And now I'm the hugest advocate for it. One of my social workers says, well, what do you do for self-care? Because, I had just trying to put a wedding together. My dad has cancer, still working, still doing a side hustle, still doing everything, and helping my husband take care of his 9-year-old son. So it's just like, it was a lot. And she goes, well, when do you have time for yourself? I'm like, never. She goes, well, you need to. And I'm like, so I finally took her advice and got a coach to help me through that, because I had this belief, because, sometimes people say crazy stuff and you believe it until you do your own due diligence and look into that. But I had believed that meditation was like a sign of the devil or something like that. So like I don't get into seances or anything like that. I just really just tune into my inner being and into what God has for me and stuff like that. But, when you believe that somebody told you about that, really look into that. It's just like sometimes people say yoga is not of God either. And I'm just like, your beliefs are your beliefs, my beliefs are my beliefs. So you really just got to do what's good for you.
Yeah.
And find what works for you whether it be in meditation, whether it be guided meditation, or just simply just sometimes just taking a deep breath and just peace for 5-10 minutes, can really clear your head. And so that's what I found sometimes clears my anxiety. Like if I'm feeling like, I take a 5-10 minute break, just sit quietly and just veg.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, gosh, there was quite a few things then there that you mentioned. It was very, very interesting, and certainly, yeah, everyone's different beliefs as to what is meditation, what is prayer, what is time out for you, all of those sorts of things. It's yeah, I totally and utterly agree with you as far as finding what works for you and then put that into action. I do find though a lot of people tend to not really want to take that time to do that test and test a measure, or to find out really what is it that works, because there's the time for the being due diligent with it to put it into action to see whether it really is working or not. Unfortunately, I think because we tend to want a lot of instant relief, instant gratifications, and things like that. And if we really, really think about it, we know that it's silly to think and feel that way, that there is no such thing as being instant. So what would be some of your suggestions around that then?
Okay, so to find out what works for you,
Yeah.
or yeah, okay. So basically, the only person that can figure that out is you. So number one, you have to take the time. You need to sit down, set a timer. There is a good timer on my phone that I've hid so no one can see, so I can't see. But let me look and see what the name of it is. My coach actually suggested this. Focus Keeper. So I have the app right on my phone. So for 25 minutes, you are just to sit there and do the task, and then it will give you like a 5-minute break in between.
Yeah.
And it's helped me do a lot, whether that be in my business or whether that be like cleaning the house, because it's not something that I like to do. So I'll put the timer on 25 minutes, whatever gets done, and then if it's not done completely, then you take your break and then you move on, right? So
Yeah.
definitely you need to take the time to focus on, I say write a list of 10 things that makes you happy. That's
Yeah.
the first thing, right? Because we get so caught up and know we have to do and be, but that's not the case. Like if my coach is a very firm believer in, taking the weekends off or taking at least Sunday off, one day anyways. And if you do not rest, and I can attest to this because I'm a reformed workaholic. I used to work around the clock, live on 4 hours sleep, and then keep going.
Yeah.
And you need the rest to not only rejuvenate your mind, but your body too.
Mm.
Because if you don't, you're just going to burn out, and then you're no good to anybody. So you should have just stuck to 25 minutes to begin with anyways, in my opinion. So definitely make the list of 10 things that makes you happy. Make a list of 10 things that make you, that you're willing to at least try to find out what it is that will help you pass that anxiety. So for me, okay, so there were some really dark moments in my life, absolutely horrific, where I thought, especially in the abusive relationship, that I just wanted, it probably would have been better if I just ended it. Although, because I've had a family member take their own life, I knew that I could never do that to my nephews. So I had taken a picture of my nephews back when they were little, and I have kept it. And whenever I thought that I was getting to the anxious or to that dark place, I would think of that picture. Sometimes I would have it like on my wall, but if I was not at my house and I was out somewhere, I would just visualize that picture and it would bring me back, right?
Mhm.
So we need to find what makes you happy. And if it's a picture of your dog, if you're a dog lover or cat lover, or your kids, if you have kids, find what would, basically they say, what's your why, but what's your why to bring you back out of that anxiety, right? So that's another tool too that I've used over the years. And basically it's like trial and error. Like if you thought you liked something, but it makes you anxious instead of the other way, forget it, quit doing it, and go back to the next thing on your list, right? And if you're past done all the 10 things and you're still finding your anxiety, then add more. And surround yourself with positive people. You have to do that. For years, you know, they say the sum of the 5 people that you're surrounded with is, you know, basically as far as you're going to get in life. So I have made a point to add different people and subtract some of the ones that were in there, and really surround myself with positive minded people, people that are going to lift me up, not bring me down. And sometimes you even have to put a boundary between you and your family member.
Mm.
Because I mean, sometimes we think our family members are the biggest cheerleaders, but they're not. I mean, I have a family member that is like, "Oh, you're going in business again? Like, why would you do that?" And because they have been taught to work for a place for 25 to 30 years, get your pension, and then get out. To me, that sounds like a jail sentence.
Yeah.
But to each his own, and we need workers to help us in the entrepreneurial world. So we do need those people. And so, but I like, do not take what somebody says to heart, especially your family, because that can knock you right out.
Yeah.
Seriously, it can. And it used to before. And then I'm like, wait, he's no further ahead than I ever was. So why does he think that he's better than I am?
Mm.
Don't let people rent space in your head for free, because it doesn't do you any good anyways.
I love that saying. Don't let people rent space in your head for free. That is so cool. That is so cool, and it can be very, very difficult. I have certainly have had that actually, probably with just about everyone in my life, other than probably really my kids. And I've worked and worked and worked on that diligently. So with some of my real close loved ones, that they can recognize that journey and be accepting, because being an entrepreneur is that bit of something different. Entrepreneurism is something that you take risks, and people, I think, it's either their limiting beliefs, or that it's they think that they're helping you and keeping you safe and not wanting you to go off and do sorts of things. And as an entrepreneur, you'll have lots of things that you'll want to try to give a go. And yes, that does mean there's going to be failures, but from failures, we do learn a lot of things. And so we do find that we're often battling with those limiting beliefs, as you said, and certainly the anxieties that come up from it. And you being the overcomer and having the Overcomer Academy, and also being an author with your book, The Overcomer, I think that this is your information that you're giving is absolutely lovely. And it's certainly something that the listeners, I really would encourage them to look into with you, and with your guidance, and with your tips around that, because we're often finding that. But I often say to people, often finding, like with the anxiety and the limiting beliefs, I often say to people though, even with those really, really large organizations, there was an entrepreneur that set that up. And then with those really large organizations, they still take risks. So to me, there's not a huge amount of difference between small businesses and entrepreneurs and large businesses and corporations and things like that. To me, that it's just because they've become bigger, they've become a whole lot more systemated, and they're a little bit more viable to get a line of credit against and those sorts of things, because they've been there and have their proven systems.
Mm-hmm.
But there's still, I do notice though, with typically the entrepreneurs and a little bit more of the solopreneurs, is that we tend to do things at a lot faster rates and pace of things, and want instant sort of, we go for the highs on that roller coaster a lot quicker, and we don't want to go down on the lows. And when you were talking earlier, it made me think of a book I read, because I've certainly had the anxiety and the depression, clinical depression, for many years. And I read a book called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. and I had put it in a box for quite some time, and I actually came across it last week. I'm going, okay, this is interesting that I've come across this after all these years, and yet this is a topic we're talking about a lot with people and with yourself, and it's just boof straight away. And I'm like, there's a reason for this. I think this is so important as a fundamental for entrepreneurs, those that are listening. Because it still keeps coming back to those principles and how much are we really learning and implementing. So could you give us a few more tips, perhaps? You've given quite a lot, so I know that I'm digging a little bit deeper here because I'd like to. Any other tips that you can think about for overcoming with those limiting beliefs?
Yes. So basically, another thing that I've learned too is setting my morning up. Okay. So I like to, my coach called it wind stacking. And I never thought of that before. So it actually happens the night before. So the night before, like, basically I suggest when you get up, you drink your water, right? Because if you're not hydrated, that just throws your whole body off. Now, people are going to think that this may sound weird, but trust me, it's true, because I've been doing this now for 8 months, actually 9 months, and it's been like a world of difference. So I get up, or I have my water in the fridge from the night before. I get up, I drink my water. I like to, I am a Christian, so I like to read a devotional first thing in the morning, and then I'll do like 15 minutes of meditation. So in that 15 minutes of meditation, I am a firm believer in helping others. So I'll ask God, who would you like me to help today? And how would you like me to help them? So, and then I set the timer and I'm there for 15 minutes. And yes, my mind goes to 10,000 different directions, but I pull it back together. And now after doing it for 9 months, I can pull it back together quicker, which is good. So then I do, and I think gratitude is everything. So after I'm done my meditation, I will do 5 gratitudes and then 10 affirmations, like I am statements, like I am full of faith, I am a millionaire. I am, right? So my 10 of those. And then anything that jumped out at me during my meditation time, and I'll journal it. And I know people are going to say, well, I don't have an extra half hour to an hour in the morning. But I'm telling you, if you do that, then it just sets up the rest of your day. I have really, I'm not going to say that there hasn't been off days, but I've had less off days since I've done this than before me doing this. So, I mean, I think, and especially, I'm not sure if in Melbourne, but here where I'm at in Canada, we're on our second lockdown within a year. So mental illness and stuff right now is on the rampage where I'm at. And the kids have been locked out of school since before Christmas, and everybody, like, they last year they were out of school pretty much almost the entire school year. So, I mean, they haven't seen their friends. We haven't been able to see our families. Like, we haven't even celebrated Christmas with other than just my husband and I, because we're not supposed to be at anybody's house right now. So, I mean, it's taken its toll here on just with that. So there's a little bit of anxiety, but like I said, when I start to feel that, I definitely listen to, I like Real Talk, Kim. I don't know. It's a podcast, and I've listened to your podcast several times. I've also listened to Taking the Helm podcast and a wild ride called Life. And anyways, whatever motivates you, right?
Yeah.
Because some things are not going to be the same. So definitely listen to positive, encouraging things when the anxiety comes. Because right now we're living through uncharted territory right now, as it is too, on top of everything else that we're dealing with, and businesses are closing left, right, and center. One of the Godiva chocolate factories I heard is closing after how many years in business due to the pandemic. So, I mean, we have to take care of ourselves. And like I said, when I talk about self-care, that's another huge tip, whether that be having a bath, just relaxing, your Epsom salt bath with your oils if you're into that, or going for a walk. I go for a walk at least once, if not twice a day. You know, doing whatever makes you happy, doing Zooms or FaceTimes with your family, you know, because again, my dad's now, just before December, was diagnosed with the second round of cancer. So I've only seen him once since December, the beginning of December. So I talk to him every day. So it's just like the little things do add up, and you may not think that it does, but if you put that into place, the chances of the anxiety coming are less and less, right? Just keep setting yourself up, you know, write the list of things that you're going to do. As a business owner, most of us write out our schedule anyways, you know, but try and stick to it. And basically, when you feel yourself getting anxious, just listen to something positive. You know, I gave several suggestions. Or if music is your jam, whatever makes you happy. I know the other day, Friday, it was like an explosive morning. I had like massive breakthrough, and that song "Can't Stop This Feeling" by Justin Timberlake was in my head. So I was playing that, and then I remembered, well, wait a minute, that was the song I walked down to my husband with on our wedding day. So huge significance for us. So I mean, just something like that, like whatever makes you happy, and you have to do it, like, because if you don't, you know, your anxiety is just going to increase, and you don't want that either.
No. And all of this does impact us as a business owner, because everything is part and parcel when we're entrepreneurs with a personal life and professional life. And I love all the suggestions you've given us. There's really quite a lot that's involved. Some of those, some of the listeners, if they've heard that before, are we really doing it, and how often are we doing it, and how could we slightly alter it and have some fun around it too? I think this would be a really, really great idea. Yeah, you know, say for example, the bath sort of thing. I often forget, I've got this big massive bath, and I often forget to do it, to have a bath as a pamper type time. And yeah, so I did that the other night. I'm like, yes, I did. I actually looked after myself for a change, and actually it did make me feel good. The next day, the whole scrub and the whole beautifying things. Anyway,
Well, and something you just mentioned, sorry, fun. I like, for years, like, okay, so I was a bookkeeper for 24 years, and that, we all know, has the stigma of being boring. Well,
dry
I'm
and
not
boring, yeah.
But I used to take a lot of things really seriously. I was like really, really serious, but I've made myself get out of that, because I have a husband that can make me like so angry in one moment, but they have me busting out laughing in the next moment. And it's just hilarious what he comes up with. It's absolutely, he needs to write a book himself on just some of the stuff he says, because it's just absolutely, it's a great bathroom read anyways. So last year my word was fun, and then the pandemic hit. So
yes,
I was just like, so at that time though, because it was in the summer, we could have up to 25 people in our backyard. Well, we had bought a house in April last year, and our backyard is absolutely gorgeous because it's big. And so we had, and my husband, his immediate family is 19. Immediate family 19. That's just weird. That's like huge to me.
yeah,
Anyway.
it is.
And so I said, well, I'm turning 44. I said, we are just, you know, we just bought the house. We want to have some fun. I don't want anything for my birthday, but just come over and we're going to have a water balloon fight. So that's what we did. We had a water balloon fight because that's what I wanted for my 44th birthday.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
My mother-in-law was like, you want to do what?
Yeah.
You're not kidding? And I'm like, well, you know what? I married the biggest kid ever. So, you know, I'm trying to step into that where fun is definitely key. So whatever that fun is for you, you know, in the water balloon fight, though, I did say no one is to hit Nan, because if my mother-in-law got hit, I would be running for the hills.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you know, whatever that, and try something outside of the box, because I find that we're so inside of ourselves and so inside of that box. but think outside of it, because who would ever thought that having a water balloon fight at 44 years old was what you wanted for your birthday?
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. It is. It's about having fun and just bringing out that childlike fun a lot of the times, really, because yeah, I used to be the same. I used to be extremely serious growing up, and then I realized, well, hold on a minute, it really wasn't making me happy, and I could be happy. I could be in charge of that. Find the joy is one of my mottos, and really have fun with it. Like everything you do, everything, the success comes of it, really. So I love that you've brought that up. I can just imagine there's going to be a lot of people now listening to this. They're going to have balloon fights either for their birthdays or maybe as an activity for work at the workplace. Uh-oh, what have you
I
started?
love it. And if you do, put a video on my Facebook page because I want
Oh
to see it.
yeah,
We should
yes.
do a nationwide spread of that, all
Oh
right?
yeah, you could hashtag it. Water balloon work. Well, water balloon. Water balloon fighting. Just
Yeah.
I'm not into the hashtags. There you go. Someone come up with it. Let us know. So, look, that's been really, really awesome, and I'm getting warm in here. Sorry, peoples, if you're watching. It's like I said, the heat wave. So then I need to ask you, what is on the horizon for you in this year?
Well, okay, so I'm so glad you asked because it hasn't happened yet, but I'm putting it out there that it will happen. I would like my own podcast show as well, or a
Uh-huh.
TV show or something.
Yep.
And I definitely see, like right now, I see the Overcomer Academy as just one like function, but I want to branch out into, because eventually I want to not only help business owners, but I want to help other people as well. And in my community, there is a huge, huge, huge homeless problem right now because there a lot of people have lost their jobs. So they've
Mm,
been living in their cars and things like that. So I also want to somehow incorporate helping these people, give them a hand up, not a handout, right? And help
mm,
them, find employment that is suited for them, that is suited for their family. And it's funny because God gave me a vision like 12 years ago. And at the time, there was a school in the town that I lived in that was abandoned. And so I wanted to get the school, and each classroom would have like maybe coaching in one, and maybe, job searching in another, and maybe, because I've also been in abusive relationships, have abuse counseling and things like different types of counseling, and perhaps maybe art of some sort.
mhm.
And now I'll add a creative writing course to there since I've wrote a book. So, just something different. And so, I mean, even if COVID still continues, it's something we could do virtually, but have it, maybe even bring in a couple different coaches around that so that we could offer a complete package
Mm,
to everybody.
that
So
sounds really awesome.
that's my 5-year plan.
Uh, well, it might be happening a whole lot sooner than that, a 5-year plan,
Maybe.
because really, and I think we spoke about this once before we got onto this podcast, that there's a lot of buildings that are now becoming quite empty. So what are we going to do with those buildings? Yes, I can imagine there's going to be quite a lot of housing, but there's a lot of other things I think we could do with a lot of those empty buildings from those businesses that have gone under, unfortunately. And I really, really love your idea. So perhaps anyone who wants to join you in idea creation, and maybe in the project, they could reach out to you as well. And there are certainly some really awesome philanthropic projects that are out there. So I think that that's really, really lovely. As you know, I love philanthropic sort of projects and getting involved with that. So I think that's really awesome. So we'll have to say, watch this space with Dorothy O'Dell.
Exactly. Exactly. I love that. I love that.
Cool, cool. So is there an offer you would like to give the listeners?
Yes, I would like to offer a 25-minute strategy call. Just fill out the form that I provided Sonia with, and I'd be more than happy to sit with you. Just see where you're at and offer some advice. And if it's the coaching that you want to continue with, then be more than happy to set that up as well.
Beautiful. Lovely. Thank you very much. So people will be able to find that URL, where to go and fill in that form at where your this interview is housed on soniaclark.com/episode, which is really, really lovely. And look, time is such a precious commodity. So thank you for giving your time. So before we say a final farewell, is there any last minute things you might want to say?
Great thing you asked. I believe that every test that we go through just adds to our testimony, and everybody has a story. So I want to hear everybody's story. And, you know, I truly believe that, because I don't think we go through these things just to go through them. I think we go through them to help other people. And, you know, that is what my life's mission is to help other people that have gone through similar situations or things like that. So to help them bring out their testimony, and for people to have their voice and be authentically themselves. I know that's more than one thing, sorry, but
Right.
I didn't start using my voice until last year. It took a pandemic for me to really get out there and really shine like I was meant to shine, and to really, you know, share my story. And since then, I haven't shut up. But I know that there's a purpose and a plan for everything that we do.
Yeah.
So, and we have to be ourselves, because if no one wants to be, you know, no one wants to have the same personality as the next person. So be authentically yourself, because people are drawn to you. So if you don't share your story, the people that you're connected with will never get that help. So just another tip.
Love, love, love that. And that's very much around the teachings of on teaching, really. And I love how you connected it all there. I think that's really, really powerful message. Absolutely love that. Totally agree. And thank you so much for sharing so much with us today. And yeah, we'll be watching that space.
Now that I put it out there to the entire universe, let's see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. You're committed now. Uh-oh, she says. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.